Hey everybody, this is Kurt from EthosReviews. Well, it is October once again, and you know what that means? It is Halloween at the end of the month. And October to me always represents something where you sort of like re-watch the old great horror movies of back in the day, or even just kind of catch up on some new ones, or play some horror video games here or there. It just kind of has that feel to me every October. I always prefer the really old horror movies like Frankenstein and Dracula and Invisible Man, and you know, from the Universal Studios back from the 30s and 40s. But anyway, talking about horror video games right now, and certainly one of the big crazes today seems to be zombies, right? There's a lot of zombie video games out there. Most recently there's Dead Island, and of course there's also the great Left 4 Dead games, both 1 and 2. And of course there's the legendary Resident Evil games. And you know, the zombie phenomenon is not just a new thing, as you see also in the Call of Duty games even, with their zombie modes and whatnot. The zombie phenomenon in games has been around for a long time, with Resident Evil dating back to, what, the original was 1996, I believe. And obviously the series has evolved over the course of 15 years. And I believe they're up to Resident Evil 5 now, but of course there's other spin-offs and everything. But in any case, the original Resident Evil is the one we're talking about today, primarily. And it is still a pretty darn spooky game. It's still scary. I mean, it certainly shows its age, but you can judge that for yourself. But we're going to take a look now at Resident Evil. So I actually don't own the original Resident Evil on the PlayStation 1, because back in the day, I actually only just had a Nintendo 64. So I always used to watch people play Resident Evil a lot. So I ended up downloading it up from the PlayStation Store. It was only like $5 or something, but certainly worth the time. So this game is notoriously tacky. So, well, one thing that seems to be like a tradition in the Resident Evil series is the way the voiceover says Resident Evil. Take a listen. Resident Evil. Now, what's kind of weird is I just selected option, right? So I'm, say I want to like fiddle around with the options first, maybe change the controls, etc. Then I exit. Then it goes back to that tacky opening scene right there. Then, oh crap, I forgot to figure something else out, so... Okay, I get it. Alright, I want to, fix the sound now, but since I forgot the first time, then I exit. Then I want to start up again. And then it's back to that tacky scene. Okay, now... Alright, now I want to start my game. Definitely going on beginner. And for an encore... So that tacky voiceover has been around forever. Take a listen. Resident Evil 4. What was cool is that you always had a choice in Resident Evil to play either as Chris Redfield or Jill Valentine. Obviously, I'm going to be Chris Redfield. I've always played as a male protagonist in the game. I'm just more comfortable that way. But it's kind of cool, though, that you have both options. And both players certainly have their own little nuances also. So that makes it, that's unique. But I'm going to choose Chris Redfield. So the game definitely still has a very good atmosphere all these years later. It's still darn scary. But the acting in it is just incredibly stiff. And just so tacky. But that's the thing. It kind of, it keeps you, maybe your comfort level is okay. But listen, hold on.
I don't know what happened.
Barry, where's Barry?
Well, I'm sorry, but he's probably...
No.
Oop, that's a problem.
What is that?
I'll go and check.
Okay, Jill and I will stay in the hall in case of an emergency.
I guess for 1996 it's pretty impressive, but, obviously by today's standards.
Take care.
It's almost kind of laughably bad at this point, but you know what? It's actually still pretty impressive. The load times are killer, though. And definitely the opening creepiness of this, you know, that just the click, the tick-tock of the clock, it's just still jarring and unnerving game, despite its age. Obviously the graphics are just very blurry, and I feel like the controls are very, very stiff still at this point, and it's just an archaic control setup. You know, you have to run with holding down the square button, and then whenever you do get a gun at some point, you have to like hold R1 and then shoot and this and that. It's just it's a convoluted scheme, but it still works. And they actually, up until Resident Evil 5, they're still using a very similar control scheme. So it's good that they stayed, I guess, original to the series. But yeah, it's still a creepy game, obviously. Again, the load times are annoying, even if it's on PlayStation 3. And of course, the primary parts of this game are obviously puzzle solving, and this is just all locked. I mean, I'm not good at this game, I'm just going to be honest. I never was. And here's your first encounter with a zombie. Hey, I freaked out when I saw this back in the day. It's still pretty scary. Oh. Ah, crap, I don't know what to do here. I don't have any gun. Oh, I have a knife. Alright, let's see what I can do here. There you go. Holding R1 down and pressing X. It's interesting. I'm going to moonwalk my way out of here. And I'm just going to leave. He's waking up, so I'm getting out of here.
Wesker? Jill?
That's a problem. I like the fact that it's all set within the mansion, though.
Jill and Wesker.
Definitely adds a great atmosphere to the entire game. I mean, despite its age, it's still actually a very good game, but it's hard to play by today's standards, so you're better off just playing a more recent Resident Evil. This was creepy. It's too dangerous to go outside. Well, you're telling me. Alright, well that's all I really have to say about the original Resident Evil. Unfortunately, and I'm going to admit this, and I'm not afraid to admit it, is that I am just not good at Resident Evil games. And I have never been good at them. I mean, from the original to Resident Evil 2 that I have on Nintendo 64, Resident Evil 5, and my opinion though, Resident Evil 4 is my favorite. And actually, it's probably the most popular game in the entire series. It's considered one of the greatest, well, certainly considered one of the greatest GameCube games, and also for PlayStation 2, etc., and all the other platforms it's been on. It's definitely one of the most popular, if not the most popular Resident Evil game. So I'm not alone in that aspect, I gotta believe. In any case, I've never been good at them, not even really at this one. Though I've beaten this game and Resident Evil 5 as well, but 1, never actually beaten the game. I'm just not good at it. And maybe because I'm better at 4 and 5 because maybe the controls are a little more user-friendly. But in any case, there's certainly something to say about the original game. It really is survival horror at its best. You know, despite all its quirks and some of its tacky moments and, you know, its stiff acting and dusty controls and graphics, obviously, it's still a good game. And it still gives you a good scare. And one other thing that I respect but also don't really care for is the way you can save in the game. You know, there's obviously different save points. Every game pretty much these days has something like that. But in the original Resident Evil and even in subsequent Resident Evils, ink ribbon. You need ink ribbon to save at a typewriter, basically. That's your save point, and they only happen ever so often, and you only get so many ink ribbons. So you really have to use them sparingly and wisely. And that kind of adds to the survival horror element, and certainly I can respect that, but obviously I'm not that good at these games, so I feel that I would feel more comfortable if I could save more often. But then again, that's not really, that kind of takes away from the survival element. So I get it, I'm just not good at it. But certainly I respect the game for what it has done, and what it's done for the horror culture and games, and it's definitely a great game, and it's still worth playing, but it's just really not for me, I guess. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this most recent Ethos review, and by all means, enjoy Resident Evil and all the other great horror games out there, and have a good Halloween, and everyone be safe and have a good time. We'll see you next time here at Ethos, and thanks as always for watching.